I go to a Church of Christ. What's one
Oh,
Church of Christ?
okay.
They believe you can walk away. When I bring it up, they think I'm crazy. That, well, you can lose yourself. That you can keep your
Well, that's
salvation.
crazy because the Church of Christ, what those
Church
who
of
that
Christ.
hold to the that you have to be baptized to be saved, Church of Christ, or Latter Day Saints.
Yes, Church of Christ. Ones you got to be baptized in.
Ah,
Yes,
okay, yeah, I understand. I went to that as well. I had to remove myself. I had to. I just couldn't sit
they're
there
good.
and
They're good
listen.
people, and they don't.
Oh yes.
I
Y'all
don't
should have
remember
a good
them doing
night.
it, and now I don't. Now I don't see it, and if I was baptized that way, I'm okay with it because I don't think God's going to judge me for that. But I've
No,
also
no,
got a
no,
wife,
no.
and I pray for my friends there because if what I hear is right, I mean, people call my church a workspace, but I don't see the workspace in them,
So the
except
thing,
for
yeah,
except
I
for
have a
the
friend.
All
baptism.
right, brothers. Love you.
There,
Sorry,
John.
go ahead.
I'm out. Love you, brothers.
You
You
too.
too. Have a good night. Be careful. Of course.
I
What
mean,
were you saying, brother?
I don't know. People say that my church is a workspace, and I guess the only thing I could see the workspace is they believe you need to be saved to be baptized, but you know,
And that's the thing. So, and I covered this in a lesson that I was covering with my church when I was teaching the adult class this past Sunday. It comes down to when you're adding on to what is required for salvation, because then you're saying that Christ isn't enough, that it requires something to be done
no,
at our hands, and
no.
that's I don't know,
All I know.
but and that's why, because I have a good friend, he's the one that lit the fire back underneath me, man, and he'd say we went to Church of Christ. I even drove him out to about 2 hours away to another Church of Christ so he can go teach, and I was still new and growing in my faith at that time, but it just contradicted the Bible, and the fact that most of the Church of Christ people say that they are the first church. When you start hearing things like that,
These
and I'm not,
we
yeah,
weren't
I'm
we
not trying to,
we weren't
That
part of
can
the
be
we weren't part of
refuted
that
quickly.
we weren't part of
yeah,
that heretic. Our church kind of
yeah.
believes, we're not that bad.
They're one. They agree. They think that they say that they're one body. They are the Church of Christ.
Yeah.
But they all vary on different beliefs. Like, because you're saying, because the church that he attends, they hold firm to the fact that once you're saved, you are saved, and no one can take you away out of it. But they still hold to the fact. So I think the unanimous thing that they hold as a whole, as a Church of Christ, is that baptism is required.
Actually,
Everything
no,
else
they're
they
the
kind
church. Actually, their church Christ. They should believe that you can walk away. It's in, you use probably Hebrews 3 to prove it. They
yeah.
believe the Church of Christ does believe in loss of salvation.
Wow. Yeah. And well, I guess all in San Angelo, where I'm at in Texas, here, every Church of Christ here, they hold to the same that you can't walk away. But they all still unanimously agree that you have to be baptized for salvation. And at that point, like I said, and all I can do is pray for them,
Oh,
and understand
Frankie,
that the only baptism that matters is the one from the Holy Spirit. And I think,
Frankie,
and from what I can
Frankie,
understand,
answer. Frankie, to answer your
huh?
question, yes, I have.
Oh, Sam, did
No,
you have
Frankie
what?
asked me. Frankie said, "Have I got questioned my pastor?" I say, "Oh, yes, actually, I have. I've actually
I'm
Yeah,
asked
and,
him."
getting
and and they're very good. They're very good at articulating. I think they even have their own Bible too. I have one here on the shelf
No,
where that
they
has the commentary, and
they have the same Bible we use. They
it's a
like to.
KJV. It's not like a Jehovah's Witness Bible, but it's a KJV. Let me see. I got it right on the shelf, and it
No,
is
no, most
specific
people.
to
the
it's
Church of Christ.
specific to the doctrine.
I've been to a Church of Christ funeral service where the guy preached that they were the only church. You know.
Yeah, that's what they say here too. Every church that I've been to, the Church of Christ here. So it's a Thomas Nelson's preface to the New King James Version. So everywhere in Scripture, he's basically giving a commentary on the whole thing and making it fit the beliefs. Twisting scriptures where it's necessary, and they like to go to Acts where it says well, they forget that it's like almost like an historical. It's like an overall outlook of how quick the church was moving. It wasn't in depth as to what was necessary. And they'll use that and say, see, look, you have to be baptized. When they were just trying to show what Luke was trying to do, there was show how fast the church was progressing. And later on, you'll see that's why the letters from Paul and all that
No,
don't,
because
don't
they'll do
match
like their
up.
belt does. They'll go to Rome. They'll start with They'll start with John 3. Then they'll say
Mhm.
that's baptism. Then
Yeah,
they'll go to like Acts. Then they'll go to First Peter or Second Peter.
Mhm.
I've already had the Bible, but we've had a baptism Bible study, and we went through it. Yes,
And I mean, I think, man, it's sad. Like I
everything.
said,
I know what
everything
I'm hearing what you're saying because these are the same things. That's we're now non-denom. I think we walked away from them because they must have some issues.
yeah,
But the guys that, like I said, my church is everybody's older than I am, and so unfortunately, you know,
yeah. And I've been
I
through, man.
bring I
I
bring
started
up
off,
I
I
bring
started
up
off with
eternal
a,
security,
go
and
ahead.
people's ears like perk up, look at me like I'm crazy. So
And that's the thing. They don't. That's just the same thing with like the Catholic Church. I grew up in that as well too. As when I was younger, but I didn't know much about it. But it's just a sad thing to think that you can give back something in which you were never responsible for in the first place to receive, and and that's just all I can do is pray for them at that point. I haven't talked to him in a while, so I might reach out to him after this and see how he's been and have a
Catholics are
sit
worse.
down.
Yeah, but Catholics
Yeah.
are worse. I mean, they
Oh
believe
yeah,
in.
I understand. Well, I
And
believe that because of what's added on top of that with the saints and all that extra stuff. It's just a ton of nonsense. But yeah, I'm familiar with it. And yeah, they do make the same claim that they were the first church, that you have to be baptized. And at least the Church of Christ is around here, they do not believe you can lose your salvation. Um,
so they're
they
one.
think
So they believe in eternal security.
they believe in eternal security. You cannot unseal yourself.
Good deal.
Now, they're what they preach is
Let
basically
me ask.
anyone
Hold on,
who's
come on.
go
Let me
ahead.
ask a question. How do y'all sing your hymns?
Who's that?
How does your how do these churches when you sing hymns? How do they do it?
It's almost like a choir. I don't understand that question. There's like a hymn book that
Do
we
they
all
sing it?
sing.
Do they do a cappella only, or do they have do
Oh, acapella.
do they?
No, yeah, instruments are forbidden. Yep, they think that I never got as
You
far as
realize
to
what they do?
understand why.
You realize they get it's from Romans, if I remember right, that they base the idea that you can't have musical instruments.
Yeah, no, I mean, look at David. There were so many different instruments that were present in the Psalms, and I asked him that, and he never really got back to me on that one. So I never understood how they came about that you
Frank,
can't use
You never been to a Baptist church? You go to Baptist church, they got bands and everything like.
Yeah, I go to a Baptist church. We
I go to
have
church too.
the church. Well, we've only been 2 times, but the first 2 times they did. The first time we went, everybody was sick, so they didn't have like a choir. But the second time we went, they have a piano and like an organ, and then they just have
Yeah,
like their
No,
choir.
we got
Yeah.
we got a guitar player now, which, like I said, we're not like I said, the epitome Church of Christ. Now we actually have an instrument. I mean, so um,
yeah. I mean, all that matters is the truth that's revealed to us in the gospel. That's why I mean, when it comes down to it,
later,
what
Chris.
scripture said. Yeah. Not Chris,
However,
sorry, I'm not near my phone. I'm over folding clothes. So good night, everybody who's leaving. Have my phone.
however, if you add to the gospel, does that mean you believe in a false gospel?
Say it again.
If you're adding to what the gospel is, does that mean you're believing in a false gospel?
Adding in what way?
Baptism need to be saved.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that it is a false gospel because you're saying that you must save yourself at that point. Um, I mean, at that point, because you have to understand you're changing the standard, which should always be Christ, and you're changing it to something man must do. And I know we try to tie like Romans when it talks about the circumcision, and I'm sure if they were dealing with the same things we're dealing with now when it comes to baptism, it's kind of baptism has taken the place of the topic which Paul was trying to teach about. It's not what is done with the hands that is required or that makes one saved. But that wasn't what they were dealing with back then. But it's the same argument you could use for baptism, because they were arguing that you had to be circumcised.
I know.
And Paul was saying that the only thing that mattered, that's why he kept saying the person who does not have the law does what the law is required, and you who have he goes on a huge spiel about it when you read the whole book and within context. Just study Romans, man. It's pointing to nothing
We've
that we
been
can
there.
do.
Trevor, thanks to Trevor and Jack, we did that, done that.
Yeah. I mean, and there's just no way around it. The only thing I don't know if y'all did is putting in place baptism in place of circumcisions, where the Jews were arguing that they had to be circumcised, and now it's the same thing with most of the churches that say you have to be baptized. You know, it's the same thing. Just put it in place of it. They're making that the requirement. You know, nothing that can be done from human hands can save you.
I get
Yeah.
you. Trevor, you there?
Sorry, I'm gonna get back to my phone so I can see who's all leaving. I was
No, everybody's
doing the
still.
laundry for my wife. Everybody still here? Oh, dang. My God.
Trevor, are you there?
Yeah.
Have quit.
Didn't realize
If
everybody had to cover.
if adding to the gospel is considered a false gospel, is it still okay for me to be there even though I don't believe in that?
Say it again. I'm sorry. I missed your question.
Since I don't believe that baptism is salvational like they do. And if they believe in baptism is salvational, that means they believe in false gospel, believing in their gospel. And should that be something I would stay with them? Is that, or,
Yeah, that would be something. That would be something I would simply say: just pray and seek the Lord on, man, for real.
because I've been looking around. The problem is every church I find around in my area is females or couples married and having. I'm like, so yeah.
Something that was recommended to me when I was looking, because that's how I ended up in the Church of Christ, and from a church that was teaching you how to be baptized with the Spirit to speak in tongues, and into that, and to the one I'm church I'm at now, man. I would recommend just going around, and if you really are looking, pray about it like he said, and then maybe listen to some services around, that are from other churches around your area. Listen to a few, and see how it lines up doctrinally with what you believe and what you know to be true. There's nothing saying that you have to leave. I stayed in a church that was teaching that you had to be speaking in tongues to be saved for almost a year, and just talking to the pastor and meeting with him, crying with him, saying, I love y'all. This is where this is where Christ. I first found Christ. Not saying that I appreciate all y'all do, and just coming at him with scripture, and it just denied me. So I just eventually had to leave. I had a heart for them and I loved them, and I just had to leave eventually.
Hold on a second. I want to hear the story. Say what? Sal saw demons at one of his church sermons? Are you talking about the guy that he actually went to his house and that's when he saw all that?
Nah, it was straight up somebody manifesting at one of the sermons that he was at, not his neighbor. Yeah.
You need to get out of Atlanta then, Trevor. I mean, excuse me, Sal.
I heard if you click your heels 3 times and you say Trevor, a chicken fried steak will appear.
Or fried bugs. Sal, do you still go to that same church that you saw that?
Hey, brothers, can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Yeah. No, I haven't been to that church in a couple months, not because of that experience, but just because it was a bi-weekly service and they haven't had it in a couple months now.
Oh, okay. What'd you see?
They have a bi-weekly service, but they ain't had it for a couple of months. What do you mean?
Yeah, well, it used to be bi-weekly service. Now it's I guess they stopped.
Sounds like
Um,
it.
but
Okay.
as for what happened, Matthew, the service was starting, right? So they were singing songs, and the pastor was starting to say like a bunch of different Bible verses, just in fellowship and in worship. And I was sitting on the second row, or maybe the third row, and then behind me there was this person, this gentleman, this man. he just kind of kept to himself. And as the service kept going and going, and as the pastor kept saying more verses and stuff like that, the guy just started responding with very ugly words, just with profanity and with really ugly words, and just like cursing God basically, and saying just really crazy stuff. And when I noticed that, I started praying for him, and I prayed for him for a few minutes, and during this entire experience, the guy was sitting down and he was just moving like with his head down and his hands over his head, and he was just moving like up and down kind of on the chair and just sounding like very angry and very mean. And as the service continued, I got up and I went to the back. It was an outdoor service, but there was some church leadership in the back, and I went there and I told them what's happening, and I said, "Hey, this man needs prayer. Please tell the pastor or tell someone that this man needs prayer." And they checked him out a bit. I don't think I don't know what happened after that because I didn't see him anymore because I had went to another part, and then when I looked again, he was gone already by the end of the service. I didn't see him anymore.
Wow.
Do you go to church now, Sal, or did you stop going altogether?
No, I'm I don't go to church right now. I actually have not gone for a long time, for like many years. I want to go, but I can't really go for some reasons. But the biweekly service was really good for me because it was like just a block away, like 2 blocks away. Even though it was biweekly, I started going, but they stopped that, I guess. Hopefully they'll start that one back again.
When's the last time you taken communion?
Taking what?
When's the last time you had Lord's Supper?
Uh, the last time was with the TCM fellowship when we did the fast, and then before that,
Awesome.
like if you're asking at a church, I honestly don't remember. Probably when I was a child. I'm just being honest. Probably when I was around 12 or so.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm not proud of it, and I'm not happy about it, and I want to change it, but currently my church life is basically non-existent. Like I know this server is not supposed to replace church, but that's basically what it kind of is for me right now at this point, is a weekly fellowship of believers with and studies and all this.
Well, I mean, at least it's something. And I know TCM is not church, but it's definitely the in between while you look for something, and something is definitely better than nothing. Because man, if you were out there just alone with your neighbor, that'd be bad.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm really happy about you know I joined TCM like a few months ago. I think like 6 or 7 months ago. I don't know, but as immediately when I joined and I started participating in the fellowships, like that the verse, I don't recall which verse, but the verse that says, "Do not forsake the gathering together of yourselves." It really, I really understood that verse in another way. Like it really, that verse really opened up to me because prior to this to these online meetings, I had just been with my family, of course, my parents, my mom and dad, but um I have just been really alone in the sense of fellowship with believers. Not, we're all believers, of course, but I mean in the other sense, the other aspect. I don't know how to explain.
No, I know what you mean because I mean even TCM has been probably more influential than my like physical body church because it seems like right after service everybody's just up and they running out the doors. You could go do whatever, and that really bothers me. You know me, I like to talk. I'll talk to somebody all day every day. That's just a me thing.
Yeah.
So being able to log on to a Discord and there's at least one person to bounce off of has been great for me. It's also probably
Yeah.
helped my wife a lot too because I leave her alone a little bit more. I'm not constantly just bothering her.
Yeah, and you know, for me, the TCM thing, you know, this beautiful brotherhood and this beautiful fellowship that we all have, it's really um ignited a serious desire in me, a very serious desire in me to not only to go to church, but I really want to get baptized. I really want to get baptized.
You not been
Um,
baptized yet?
no,
Were you
no.
saved?
I'm sorry.
When were you saved?
I thought you
Um,
said, "Are you saved?" I was like, "All right, Matthew."
No. He's not Canadian. No,
you know, I really don't know how to answer that, Matthew, because I've been a believer for as long as I can remember. Um, I remember my mom taking me to like church when I was 5, 6, 7, and she would tell me stories when I would um, like when I became older. She would tell me stories about how we would go to church and how I would always, you know, say things like encourage the pastor basically, and pay attention to the pastor, and how the pastor always really liked coming over and talking with us, because I would always tell him something like amen or like hallelujah, or something like that. So um I don't really know how to answer that. I know that I've been, and brother George would disagree with this, with the way that I'm using this term now, lukewarm Christian. Um, but I've been pretty lukewarm for a majority of my life.
I think I learned more of this through TCM than I've learned more of the church that I go to now. Just because they don't, since they've all been in their set in their ways and they've all been believers and they know the Bible left and right, that they'll do their thing, and it's still good to read. But I have gone through Matthew with Mike and JE that was a blessing. That was literally a blessing. Then getting here and letting and Trevor getting me to go through Romans and
Yeah,
I think it was Matthew 60. Yeah, around that same time period. Trevor, you here? Or you just you're awfully quiet tonight.
Yeah, dude went to go pee and he ain't said nothing since. Must be a
Yeah,
long freaking pee.
What do you do,
I'm here,
Paul?
man. I'm just chilling. I'm working on some stuff for my job while I was listening.
Get that
Thought you
fried
fell
chicken,
in, brother.
that chicken fried steak,
Yes, sir.
Although look at Sal, dude, just opening up and being honest. He's talking about earlier today, wanting to be more open. Now look at him. Can't deny it now. He's done said it. Yeah, I'm gonna hold him to it now.
yeah.
I'm gonna hit you with that sluggard.
I don't know what that means, Frankie.
When we were doing the one weekly boss in the Brotherhood where it was like you can't
Oh,
procrastinate.
oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah,
All right,
I
everybody. I think I'm heading out for the night.
Thank you. So,
Later,
Yeah,
brother.
brother.
Thanks for hanging out.
good night,
Yes, sir.
brother.
I'll try to be more involved with you guys.
Yep.
I'll keep you all in prayer. Love y'all. Good night.
You
Good
too.
Love
night.
you, brother.
Have you Sally, have you actually talked to Marcos yet? Has he reached out at all?
Yeah, I sent that the screenshot of my conversation with him the last week, I think it was.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, and even today and what was that, yesterday? No, today. Yeah, today. Yeah, it's really sad. I definitely understand the decision to, you know, to kick him and that sort of stuff. We just have to pray for him.
Yes, we do.
Now, like I said, I was talking to Stoic when he first joined. It was just me and him in here, but I'd reached out to Marcos or rather, he'd reached out to me, asked me how I was doing, said he'd talked to you, Sal, and about he's wanting to join back the Brotherhood for James, and he's like, I'm not gonna try to convert anybody. He's like, I'm sorry for doing that, and I'm sorry for all this, and he's like, I think it'll be a cool opportunity to share different perspectives and all this, and I just told him, I was like, I just don't think it's a good idea, Marcos. It was like we have two totally different frameworks. Like we don't believe the same things that I find very foundational. Like I don't think it'd be beneficial. And it's not just for your sake, but we have some members, who get physically ill. Makes them angry talking with this stuff, and it's just not fruitful kind of thing. But I told Frankie that I'd considered just letting him back into the Brotherhood side because I can block him off from the main server, but that's up to everybody else. I On one hand, it's like I want to because I'd like to have him back and question him more and be around him more, And on the other hand, it's like will it just cause division and stuff like that? So.
Yeah.
Well, either way, I mean, Brotherhood starts this weekend, so we kind of got to make a decision on that relatively quickly. Even if it's just tossing up a poll and just letting us vote and just see where it ends.
Mm-hmm.
That might be the easiest way to come to like a majority consensus instead of just hoping people reply to the message.
Mm-hmm.
Just to open up
For
like
what it's
a different
worth,
viewpoint for it is, would it be kind of like letting the snake in the garden? Versus, is he actually open to what TCM's about as well, and in the beliefs that it has?
I think Marcos's biggest issue was is he always struggled with assurance of his salvation off and on, and I think it gives him some comfort for some reason that he gets to quote unquote work for it. And I do think he likes a structure as well, and I think Eastern Orthodox does provide a bit more of a structure than just random Protestantism to him.
Very much
So I
so,
think
and
he,
in that sense, I think that could actually be very beneficial for him. Um,
yeah.
I really do. But we all know how we feel about these things. We all have our own beliefs. But yeah,
The
that's
only,
that's
yeah,
where,
but
that's where I'm at.
the only problem is start talking and it's if the Eastern Orthodox programming starts kicking in, then it's going to get difficult because church history, church fathers. I know your interpretation is correct, but mm, so that's the only problem I have.
Yeah. Well, I'd asked him today, actually. I was like, hey, have you been reading your word? You been in the word? He's like, no, not really. I'm like, brother, why? You now reading, and quoting church fathers, but you need to be in your word, brother. Um, I don't know. Then again, I guess they can't because they're told they can't interpret it. I don't know. I love old Marcos, man. I really do. He stays on my mind. I don't know what to do. I really don't.
I will say, as far as Marcos went, if he said he was going to do something, he pretty much did it. Like he was pretty good by his word. Um, so I do think we should take that into consideration when he says he's not going to try to convert anybody.
Frankie, yeah, but Frankie, there's a problem now. Isaac, he's already did it with Isaac, and Isaac does not like him.
Well,
Well,
like I
that's because
said,
Isaac reached out to him, though.
yeah, Isaac definitely set himself up for that.
Oh, he did? Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Now, it does irritate me a little bit that the ones that he did try to convert were the ones that he knew struggled with the same assurance that he had. It almost seemed like he thought, like, low hanging fruit, easy to convert type of people. That
Well,
irritated me a little bit.
kind of like you said, I think it actually gave him, in some weird way, security. Like
Yeah,
that. Yeah, he does have something to, and I think he genuinely thought he could help Isaac, with
yeah.
this, because apparently it's helped him. He's found something that just made him feel secure. I guess I don't know how that works.
Marcos is young. A lot of young dudes just want structure, whether they want to admit it or not. So I think that plays a big role for him.
I don't know. Isaac's a wow. I mean, 2, 3 months ago, we were worried about him. Now it's like when he comes in chat, it's like boom, and everything else is like, you know,
No, Isaac knows his stuff. He's just gotta believe it. He's just gotta, you know what I mean. He's gotta take the
Trying to let his
knowledge that he
heart
knows.
catch up with his mind.
Yeah, exactly that.
his biggest issue is grace.
I, yeah. I think I think that hey, welcome in, brother Michael. I think the debate threads was kind of a mistake, and I feel really really guilty
Well, they're not
that.
debate threads, and it wasn't a mistake. It's not on you, brother. I don't know why you would feel guilt for that, because I mean, it's simply a forum to discuss topics, but uh, that wasn't a you thing. There's nothing to blame for yourself for that, because it
It,
would eventually ended up where it did anyway, regardless
mhm.
of those forums.
And it was better to have it in one collective area than to have it spill into the entire brotherhood in random channels.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
pray about it.
that's
I'll see. Let's all just pray about it and pray about Marcos. If he was just in the Brotherhood, the only person I know is like people like Isaac and of course Matthew. You get a little passionate about these things. Um, if he was to come back, we'd have to really be mature about it and respond to him in love and let it not devolve into anything, kind of thing. But
I
if it,
still
if it
stand by he should probably talk to Mike and George since he was hurling the
well, I know he talked to
especially
George.
George. Especially George.
He did talk to George.
Did he? Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, did he
yeah,
talk after the fact?
yeah.
I asked George and Mike what they think. I mean, Mike's the one who made it a service, made the whole server announcement about it. I mean,
I
he's
don't
weird.
think Mike had the full story. Me and Trevor were talking about that earlier because Marcos never said that uh, Mike was prideful by any stretch of the imagination. Marcos's issue with Mike was the baptism thing in that moment.
Doesn't he think
Yeah.
it's not necessarily that baptism that saves you? I remember his position.
One of the guys that was in the Brotherhood randomly converted to Eastern Orthodoxy.
He wasn't feeling
He didn't. He was converted already, Frankie. He was baptized in the Eastern Orthodox.
Yeah, he was Eastern Orthodox, but he started seeing the error of the ways. Like I said, I think he just genuinely liked the structure of it. Yeah.
Well, I've said it before. If it wasn't for some of their doctrines and their beliefs, I'd probably be Eastern Orthodox because I just think it's a beautiful. Well, yeah, just the structure of it, their liturgies and all this is really beautiful what they do. But yeah, I just can't get behind. Again, man, like I don't know how you have. I just cannot understand how they have such any stretch of peace or just love and peace and security that the gospel gives. If you cannot have assurance of your salvation, if you believe you can lose it, if you believe you've got to maintain it, I don't understand that kind of like are you. I don't know. It's weird to me.
Yeah.
Huh. The idea that you could lose your salvation if you invert it is just like insane because then it's like, does that also mean that you yourself can attain your own salvation?
Right.
Right.
That's a wild topic. That's a wild thought. Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
it was something we was recently talking about on the server that kind of really opened up to me. Again, thinking about the purpose of the law and yeah, who was it that was talking about that? I don't remember, but it's just again, I think about one of the biggest thing that bothers me in these spaces, like I talked about last week, is just the fact that all of these talking points as they use is like they really think we just out here preaching. Yeah, you can just go do whatever you want to. You're saved. Like that's their argument. Is, oh, you just faith without works is dead, though. You just believe you can believe Jesus saves me, and it's over. And you just live however you want to. And I guess that's what they think we all do. But um, I get so sick of that narrative. But at the same time, it's like um uh I just forgot what I was finna say. I don't know. I
I don't
don't
know.
know
I
what I
can
was
tell
finna
you,
say.
I'm in other servers that y'all will never be in, and I guarantee you, the people who are Eastern Orthodox and Catholics, oh, I'm just laugh and say like that. I mean, it's you know, these guys thinks that all you need to do is go. If you go out and have a party, just go to your priest, do a little prayer, and you're good to go, and you can do it again.
Listen, I don't know about you guys, but I'm never taking anything an idol worshiper says seriously.
Let's not get it twisted in a sense, though. There's just as many people in the Protestant side that are just as deceived through means of prosperity preaching and
Of course.
stuff like that.
Of
So
course.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's cool.
And those kind of folks are why Catholics and all these
But they're
people
there
attack
because
us so hard, man.
that's what tickles their ears though. That's what they want. So
hmm and this is why I really believe that Christianity. I mean, for one, I don't think God would ever let it get snuffed out. For one, but for two, you can't snuff out Christianity when you can't tell the heart. You know what I mean? Um, So I think, people that are in Catholicism that truly believe that Jesus is the only way, and people that are in Eastern Orthodoxy that believe it, and then people in the Protestant side that believe it, you'll never be able to snuff it completely out because people of all sides genuinely believe that it is faith alone. But there are just as many that are deceived in all those as well.
But hey, can you say it's faith? Can you say it's faith alone? Because you asked Marcos, it's not faith alone though.
Yeah, but Marcos isn't the poster boy for Eastern Orthodoxy either. there's going to be people within that camp that do genuinely believe it. They just don't have any churches near them. Do they go to that type of church?
That's
I mean,
another thing with
we have
Marcos is
one biblically sound church around us. Other than that, we have to travel 2 hours to go to a biblically sound church. So, I mean, not everybody's even going to have that luxury to have one good church near you.
What were you saying, Trevor? You going to say something?
oh, I was just saying like, well, another one of Marcos's problems is he converted back, and all of a sudden he's trying to be an apologist for Eastern Orthodoxy, and half of the stuff he had no idea what he was talking about. Like it's fine if you're gonna, but you need to spend your time and study and know what you actually believe, because we're confronting him with all these verses and things, and he doesn't have an answer for it, so he's just defaulting to, you know,
He did
um,
get mad. He did get mad at me when I said, when I brought up that even Jesus was talking about traditions of men, and he was I guess he drew back. I was stung because I actually brought that up. I was like, yeah, but you know, traditions of men, when your belief is that the Bible's not enough, that you have to go to traditions and you have to go to the magisterium, and then you ask them, the whole him saying Hebrews 10:26 is, but and somebody from another live I followed said the exact words, and I was like shocked. It makes sense. If Hebrews 10:26 is real, then guys, we've all lost our salvation. No one's perfect. No one. Because if you could take that verse and take it to the extreme, we all have done it.
yeah.
So,
Remind me, quote for me, Hebrews 10:26.
for if you sin unwillfully, knowing what you,
Oh, I go along with the major mission for sins. Yeah.
people think that that verse means you can't keep sinning because you can lose your salvation. But they don't realize what I. Some people don't won't name names.
Like who? I really want to know, like, if anybody truly uses that verse against somebody. Like, how like are they living sinless? Like, it kills me, man. The self righteousness and stuff. And again, that's what I was going to say earlier, talking about the law and stuff, and you got to keep His commandments and all this. And we all agree, we all know that we should keep His law and the things He wants us to do. It's good. It's good. Um, but like law keeping was never the point, and I mean, its only purpose was to be that mirror and the guardrail, right? As Paul explains, and to show us Christ and His righteousness, and show us how far away from that we are. It was never meant to save. It has never been anything to do with keeping commandments or laws or any of that. It was all pointing to Christ. He took it all. He got all the sins placed on Him, past, present, and future, and faith in Him saves. Like, I don't know how more simple it can be, man. But it's just people think that, I don't know, man. It's a really a pride issue, dude. Like, you guys are just out here sinning, and you're hell bound. You better stop deliberately sinning and all this stuff. And it's like, I don't know. Anybody that knows Him is gonna love Him imperfectly. Because even when we sin, we all know how we feel, and we know we shouldn't be doing it. We know it grieves Him, and it grieves us, and then that's how we know we're saved, man. That's how we know we got that Spirit working, bro. It's very simple stuff. We overcomplicate so much. Um,
Patrick may have brought up a good point.
Yeah. Like I said, I have no contention with Marcos coming back. I do think there needs to be guardrails for
Yeah.
sure. And I'm not saying just guardrails on his part.
Well, yeah, if he does come back, if we do come to that conclusion, yeah, I'll let him know. If if anybody reaches out to you and asks about it, that's one thing. But you go trying to reach out to somebody else about Eastern Orthodoxy, and they let me know that's it,
Yeah.
kind of thing. But
I'm saying guardrails on our end as well. To be hospitable, so to speak.
that's right. That's exactly right. Because it's not more, it's more. It's not only Marcos, but it's us too, and how we conduct ourselves.
Mhm.
I can't even speak. That's exactly right. Yeah. All right, I ain't gonna. I hope I ain't sinning by talking about him. I love him to death. God knows my heart.
I mean, it
I
seems like to me we're just trying to figure out the best way forward with it. On how to, I mean, we're actively trying to figure out how to include him.
well,
You know,
Go Sal.
thank you. When I first learned I mean, when Marcus first told me that first day, that he's going full Orthodox and all this, um, I had a verse in my mind that I really really had this verse on me, and the verse that I had was a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. And
yeah.
I was thinking of that verse for the rest of that day after Marcos told me that, and that's kind of what's I don't want to talk bad about anyone. Just but that's kind of what's happening, because he was Orthodox. He was baptized Orthodox. He went. I truly believe he went truly, like, fully Protestant during his time here with us, and then he's going back now to I mean, he went back now to Orthodoxy. And it just made me really sad. The As I pondered on this verse and thought how it applies to the situation here with Marcos. And the only thing I'll say regarding his potential return for season 2, um, James is a short book, and it might give Marcos a very good seed in his heart if he would um, be there for it. That's all I'll say. It would be very good for him is what I'm trying to say. Hopefully.
I think James would be an interesting book to go through and through it with him.
There's one thing
Actually,
though that triggered my I said when Sal was talking. Y'all got to remember, and maybe somebody said this to him. If you leave, Orthodox fully believe if you leave the faith, you are no longer saved. And the faith is the Eastern Orthodox Church. If somebody bucked him in the ear when he went full, like Sal said, and I do because I know what Sal's talking about. Yeah, before Christmas, it was like full Protestant. If somebody might have said that or said that to his ear, that may be why he flipped like he did, because
Well,
they really believe that if you fully leave the faith and go Protestant, you're considered anathema.
I know at some point Marcos had said that he didn't have any Protestant churches near him,
Yeah,
and that all he had was Eastern Orthodox. So I think he just was attending that church just because he wanted to be in a body. I don't think it's any shock that Marcos likes loving on people and he likes being around people. So I think he went to that, and I think it was just enough to make him doubt. And I think that's probably why he had so
never
many
run.
doubts with his salvation, is just because he's going to church on this day and he's hearing this, but he's going back to the Protestant server and he's hearing this on this day instead. And it's just this back and forth for him. It had to be tough. You know what I mean, for somebody young. And at the time when he had converted back, he had just joined the Bible in a year. We were, like I forget how many days in, but he had not been reading, and I had messaged him, and he said that he hadn't read his Bible for like 3 weeks. So I was like, temptations come very easily when you're not in the Word. You know what I mean? So I think a lot of it was just the how to word it, the perfect storm for it to happen for him. You know what I mean?
For some reason, Trevor dropped, but I don't know. I didn't give a reason. He just come.
I will also say I think that's a very good point, and I also think that um, obviously he's sorry, I'm having difficulty maybe with my words, but
Used to it.
obviously he's watching a lot of this type of content online and that sort of stuff.
Mhm.
Oh, I forgot what I was going to say.
It's okay. Frank already had his Joe Biden moment.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I forgot what I was going to say. It'll come back to me.
But yeah, I mean, that's why that's why the scriptures tells us to test everything by the scriptures. I mean, I don't necessarily. I'm not saying I distrust Mike, but I also have to test Mike by the scriptures, even though you know what I mean. Even though he's been sound on whatever he's taught so far, um, it would be a disservice to him, to God, to my faith if I didn't, check him just to be sure.
He said check him. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that's the ones you're up. That's the ones I can rock with. The ones that say don't check me is the
Mm-hmm.
ones you go.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. The ones that say this is the true church. Listen to what this says. Sorry, that was not a good joke. I'm sorry. I remember what I wanted to say though.
Go
Um,
ahead.
this is just my speculation. I believe that Brother Marcos may have also made that decision because of his friends and possibly family that he has
Mm,
over there.
I didn't even think about that because I know all of his friends are Orthodox and his family is. Yeah, that would make a lot of sense, honestly. But I think with a smaller group going into season 2, I think it's pretty obvious it's going to be a smaller group. I saw like 16 signed up. We had 40 at one point in season 1. I think it'll be easier to kind of keep eyes on the situation and to kind of guard it if it does come down to them letting him in. Personally, I'm in a good place that I can be in the same section as somebody else and not fall for their doctrines. You know what I mean? Um, I do think it should be something we bring up to Isaac and just see where he's at with it.
I already knows the answer.
Yeah, it'll be tough for him for sure. But and that's kind of what I was trying to do that day in the Discord because Isaac had already bowed out. He was like, "All right, I'm going to leave before I get mad." And Marcos was still going, and I told Marcos to he was getting a little prideful. And I told him to check his pride just so it didn't turn ugly, and I made sure to word it I thought in a way and I could have completely bombed it. Tried to word it in a way that it was completely loving and all, just to kind of avoid from that situation going nuclear. But I must not have did it very well. He did reach out to me after later that day and apologized because he'd made the statement that Protestants are constantly changing churches because they find they're not biblical. And Tiff and I had just left our previous church because it was some unbiblical stuff. And he's like, I don't want you to think it was a shot at you. And I was like, I didn't take it that way at all. I didn't even connect the dots if you were actually like pointing towards me in that moment. The perks of being oblivious.
Makes you wonder if a church has told you for 2,000 years that X, Y, and Z, but all suddenly a massive explosion of faith alone starting to appear. Makes you wonder if, I mean, 2,000 years if somebody was wrong, how do you make accountability somebody wrong? Because if somebody's wrong, it's hard to fix 2,000 years later. You know?
Yeah. Well, that's
I
kind
mean,
of the thing. At one point in that discussion, he was just like, apostolic succession, whatnot. And then linked the Roman Catholic thing. And Trevor's like, wouldn't this point towards the RCC being the correct church and not the EOs?
I'll leave. EOS think that the RCC was their first apostate.
That makes sense.
So yeah, James, and if we're small, we could try.
Well, as it looks,
long as I don't get passionate about it, it's,
I know as it looks right now, it appears that Arctic and I will be kind of leading a small group within the group. So that I'm looking forward to that. Maybe we let Marcos be Sal's baby.
Hey, maybe Sal can take Marcos to the Catholic servers.
Yeah.
No, that would be terrible for him. That place is full of Catholics and Orthodox.
How are you in there? How haven't you given in, so to speak?
Well, it's just a Christian server. It's called Christianity. It's just a Christian server.
I know that server.
Yeah, but thing is, the most active users are just e-caths and e-ortho bros, whatever, how they refer to themselves.
Not good people to debate with, or honest debate with you, because
Yeah, I mean, I tried when I first joined the server a couple months ago, but they just regurgitate the same talking points. And I've also noticed many of them just using like AI responses, and so I'm just done with the debates. The reason I'm still in the server is because every now and then I'll answer a question in someone who's got like a general question or something like that.
I joined that one first, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, it's not a good one. It's all they do is debate and belittle, and it's really not. It's not been a pleasant experience.
I genuinely do feel like if there's anybody within the Brotherhood that is qualified to handle the Marcos situation in a loving way, it would be Sal. I don't know. I feel like Sal has definitely the heart for the tough conversations to not get too crazy.
Yeah, thank you. Praise God. Yeah, I'm a crybaby. I'll admit.
I'm glad tonight because it sounded like Trevor needed some help. So that's good.
Yeah. Trevor's got a lot on his plate. He won't tell nobody about it.
Archie, you still playing Apex?
Occasionally. Not as much. Everyone's abandoned me that was playing.
I
Hey,
got
go.
sick, and then I didn't get back on for a little bit.
Someone hit platinum and it was like, well, these people are below me now. I don't need to play anymore.
Yeah, I got tired of being around these gold players.
Even if you create a group, if you're still, can you create a group? Does that go around the rankings or?
The rankings kind of work weird on Apex at times. It's you don't get like a group score. You get individual score, but playing as a team definitely helps your score. Like for example, if Arctic and I and Christian played, we would be able to get a placement score together, but they wouldn't get the points for my kills, or I wouldn't get the points for their kills. Only if they got like a bullet or two onto the person, they would get the
Oh, okay.
assist
Yeah.
kill.
Okay, that's what you're saying. I see what you're saying now. Okay.
Yeah,
So
it was
basically,
really
shoot. They shoot somebody and they basically shoot me and you finish them off. Yeah, yeah, that can be annoying.
Yeah, that's what happened. He would just finish everyone off after we died.
brother. I'm gonna post that screenshot of the 4K damage.
Did you hear what I said there right at the end? I
No, I
said
did not.
after we died. I said after
Actually,
we
hold
died.
on, dude. I got really good at running away from fights during that time frame. Because you can ask Arctic in other games you can do like the 1v3s. It is so hard in Apex to do a 1v3. Those
Yes.
suckers, they swing you as a team. They do not wait.
Yeah, the Apex awards or rewards being very aggressive, but also knowing when to run away.
Yeah. Apex really rewards playing as a team too, because like if you're not playing as a team, your team's going to get smoked.
Yep.
Is Apex the shooter game?
Yes.
It's like more realistic Fortnite
Okay.
without building, no building. And the other thing with Apex is you can with Fortnite you have like a default amount of shield that you can have as long as you get the potions and all for it. On Apex, you have to do damage or hit Evo harvesters to level up your shield. So you can go into the final circle with the worst possible shield and the other team have the best possible shield, and at that point you're down 50 health, maybe 75 depending on the shield. And you're just doomed.
Did you see they reverted the drop zone change partially?
I figured they would. People were going to complain about that one.
Well, now it's hybrid. If you're in a lobby with average of above platinum or platinum or above, it'll still be it drop zones now. If you're below, it'll be the drop ship.
I guess that's fine. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah.
That's the thing with Apex is they're always trying stuff. Which I will say, I did see their post on Twitter the other day. This is like the first time I've really seen the Apex devs listen to community feedback. So that's kind of hopeful.
Yeah, that's cool. Um, it's always nice when devs listen to like community feedback and stuff. Usually they don't. Usually
Yeah, I was
they
gonna say it doesn't happen often.
yeah.
Path Exile does, but they've been around forever. So it's
Who does?
Path Exile. It's a D,
Mhm.
kind of like Diablo but free. But
Mm.
I've been playing it since they came out, which is about 2014, 2016. Okay. Doom, doom.
He
Was
was
weird.
that.
He didn't want to come here.
He probably was just trying to click on to read the chat.
He saw Matthew was still here, and he's like, "Nope."
Hush.
He's like, "Nope. That's all the questions I got for the night. I'm out." Wish Isaac would join us more often.